I have created this video this morning so that I might exercise my right to speak my truth, to be heard. And this is something that is being violated on a mass level at this time. I believe as individuals, each of us has the ability to discern what is true for us and what is not. And I believe that we have the right to use that ability of discernment and to feel for each of us individually what resonates for us. I am reading an article from the bbc.com website on Tuesday, April 7th at 11:11 a.m. Coronavirus. YouTube tightens rules after David Icke 5G interview. YouTube has banned all conspiracy theory videos falsely linking coronavirus symptoms to 5G networks. The Google-owned service will now delete videos violating the policy. It had previously limited to reducing the frequency it recommended them in its Up Next section. The move follows a live streaming interview with conspiracy theorist David Icke on Monday, in which he had linked the technology to the pandemic. YouTube said the video would be wiped. During the interview, Mr. Icke falsely claims there, quote, is a link between 5G and this health crisis, end quote. And this article continues. You can find it on bbc.com. And I just had looked at 5G and it came up.
Yellow Brick Road, Wizard of Oz. They seem to be dealing with an all-powerful force. And when they looked behind the curtain, it was an old bloke who had no power at all. And this cult expresses its power by persuading the target population that it has power. Its power is in our acquiescence to that illusion of power. We now have the chance to break the spell, to break the mind spell and see behind the curtain. And what we'll find is something that's not powerful at all once we stop acquiescing to it. And it's where I want things to go, but it's also where I know things can go. Because in the last few weeks, worldwide, that spell has been broken. And at the same time, this cult has broken cover. It's walked into the room where we can see it. And you know what's happened? The frickin' door has clicked behind it. And we're now in a different game. And I tell you this, I have tracked these people, this cult, for 30 years full time. And I've seen what they do, and I've seen how they act, and I've seen their staggering, shocking levels of psychopathy. And you know what? I don't fear them one smear, because I am more powerful than they are, and they frickin' know it. I ain't come here to fail, and I frickin' won't.
Why are you more powerful than they are, David? Why?
Because I have levels of consciousness, and everybody watching this program has those same levels of consciousness if they will only open their minds to it. It's theirs, it's their right, it's their true self. Whereas this cult is so limited in its perception, in its ability to make things happen. You see, what they've done, because they are so limited, I promise you they are so limited, The only way they can control humanity is to put humanity in a smaller box than they're in. That's how they've done it. And when humanity steps out of the box and realizes its true identity, which is a state of infinite awareness, which these pillocks aren't, then they're in a box. We are expanded consciousness well beyond the box. And they become powerless to that. They have to put us in a smaller box than they're in. That's what they've done. And they could not do it without it. Once we open our eyes, we open our minds, we open our hearts, the walls of the prison, the walls of the bubble, the walls of the box, whatever you want to talk about, just fade away. And we become the true power that we really are. All of us. Yes, you, Ethel, on the checkout. You as well. All of us. And the way they have controlled us is by blocking out that expansion of true self and locked us away in a bubble where we perceive everything only through the five senses. We self-identify with labels. We self-identify with our life stories and our race and our sexuality and all that stuff. They're just experiences. And they keep us in the bubble when we think that's the I. And that's, so we're in the bubble, they're in a slightly bigger bubble, and so they control. When we realize the true nature of what we are, which is consciousness, eternal, exploring forever consciousness, having a brief experience called human, and we tap into that infinite creativity, power, and open our hearts. And when you open your heart, it's not just to love, not I love you, darling, saw you down the disco love. I mean real love in its infinite, unconditional sense. What you're doing is you're tapping in to a level of consciousness that does not have something which is the very foundation of human control. It does not have fear. So, I am a unique expression of all that is, has been, and ever can be. I will go on exploring forever, forever. This is just a brief experience. What is there to fear? Nothing. And when you lose fear, you do what you know to be right without asking the question, which is fear asking the question. This is what I know I need to do, but what are the consequences for me? It's asking about the consequences, which is fear asking the question, that leads to people not doing what they know to be right. Once you open that and you go beyond fear, then you don't ask about consequences. You just do what you know to be right. And you know something? This cult is terrified of that. It's terrified of fearless people because fear is its currency of control. And if people are not fearful, it has lost its currency of control. And that's why I have more power than they have. Because you know something? They are consumed by fear. And their biggest fear, because it's over then, is humanity awakening to what the frickin' hell is really going on and who is really in control.
Thank you so much for listening. This was only a few minutes in a 2.5-hour interview. I can only hope that if it resonated for you, that you will continue to search and find the entire talk. Find out for yourself rather than having others control what you can listen to and what you can't. Many blessings to all of you. Please stay awake, stay aware, and stay healthy.